This is the best Zeke we've seen since when? And how much confidence do you have in him?
Since when?
His rookie year.
Okay. And so that was my initial thought. And I was like, am I discounting how good he was in 18 or like how good he could have been outside of the suspension in 2017? Like, do we look at this and think this is the best he's been since 5 years ago, which just on the surface seems crazy?
Yeah, I think you have arguments for 17 or 18, but he wasn't the same. And maybe this is this. Now that we've watched 2 years of at best average running back from Zeke, like in the NFL, like at best he's average type of deal, maybe even a hair above average, to then watch about 24 games of him not doing a whole bunch to now watching him be a guy who is quick again. I won't say fast, but he's quick and he still has all the power you would want. This is awesome. Like, this is all the things that he did, all the work ethic that he put in to get prepared and ready for the season is paying off. And it's awesome to see. Now, look, in 2016, we'll see how the season plays out. He did have some bigger runs and bigger plays. He was a little bit more of a home run hitter in 16, and maybe those home runs will come as this season progresses. There's still plenty of games for him to have a 80-yard catch, like a screenplay that goes for 80 against Pittsburgh, or there could be a big run where he goes for a 60-yard touchdown run. That can still happen this year. But for me, I would say this is the best since 16. He probably won't reach those numbers that he had there, but this is really fun to watch a guy run and just get back to what we thought we had after drafting him.
Yeah, I think, the point that Mike makes about being quick and strong still, like that was always his forte. That's how he got into those big, gashing situations early in his career, was because he was so quick, slow to, fast through. Once he got through, guys were like, oh, crap, I didn't realize he was that fast. And if they tried to tackle him, a lot of times they struggled. But I just, Kevin, you're not seeing the fumbles that you saw last year. And I don't know that, like, he'll ever be able to continue this kind of success. Like, if he's going to just say, you know what, every year I'm going to commit my body in the offseason. I'm going to take care of my body in such a specific way that I'm going to be just as good as I was last year, if not better. Because we know, like, he has a different personality. He likes to party. But this offseason, he committed to it, and he stuck with it. And I really do. I seriously think it had to do with Dak's injury. Because they're best friends, and he was like, I owe everything to making sure that dude is protected, that I don't let him down anyway. And I just want to see the future of how he carries himself and what motivates him there. But right now, we are seeing a very uniquely different guy.
Somebody texted, "You're still blind. Zeke has never looked better." I just want to point out, when we say this is the best since the rookie year, I don't think anyone should interpret that as a slight. Rookie year, when he was top 5 MVP and looked like the best running back in all of football, when he had 1,600 yards rushing and more than 5 yards per carry, as well as 15 touchdowns. Like, that's a bananas season. And saying it's the best he's looked since his rookie year, I do not mean that as a slight whatsoever. I mean that as a great bit of complimentary things to say.
Yeah, and we watched Hard Knocks, right? And
that's true.
I think that was the first time that I realized how much Zeke knows about the game, because he's sitting there teaching the younger guys, and he's like, "Hey, watch this. I'm going to go out there and do this." And of course, those practices were against his own teammates, but he is finding those holes and making the most of them at the moment. And I also think that you have to compliment the offensive line on that too. There was plenty of space for Zeke to run through yesterday. And I think Dalton Schultz said it after the game. He was like, he's so much fun to block for. You give him a foot, he's going to take a mile from it. And I like that. That's great. But you also did see, how long was the long he had yesterday, Kevin? Was it like 40 yards?
47.
47 yards. Mike's right. He's not fast. Because if he was fast, that would have been a touchdown. He had the opportunity, but
how exciting was it to see him break off from the defenders?
That's the thing, though, is like now we're at a point where, and I've been tracking this. I've been trying to keep track of this just for Mike, not to rub it in his face or anything, but just to be like, hey, this is something that Mike, before the season, for everybody that thinks that Mike hates Zeke or that, hey, he was being too hard on him for everything, Mike was very adamant that when he saw his body and when he saw what he was, building in the preseason, he was like, this is a different guy than we've seen. This is something that I'm expecting. You asked the question, will we get a better Zeke this year? Mike said yes.
Yeah.
Based on what he saw him do in the Yeah. He said that based on what we were seeing in the preseason. And Mike, I've been trying to keep track of how many times 20-yard runs happen, and we haven't gotten a bunch of them, but we're getting a lot more 10-yard runs than we are 2-yard runs or stop in the backfield. And that's something that I think it's gonna continue to build, because at some point in the third or fourth quarter, those guys are gonna be beat up from the Cowboys just beating them up on the offense, and then Zeke's gonna explode for a 47-yarder. It's going to happen. That's what I'm keeping an eye on it, because at some point we're going to get a big touchdown, and that's not the guy that we had the last few years.
And I think it just adds another level of, I guess the word we used was excitement around the offense. But you know what I love is this quote. And it's not even about him personally and his stats or anything like that. Is Zeke yesterday said, I think our next step as a football team is going out there and choking out an opponent. I think last week and this week we had opportunities to end the game early, but we kind of let them hang around. So think about that. Last week they won by 20 points? Yesterday they won in a game that was 8 points, definitely not as close as all of that. And he's like, that's a problem. So I like on a day when he has his best performance of the season, longest run in 5 years, the team knocks off a previously undefeated team, and he's like, you know what we need to work on is this, because that's problematic. And I think that's a huge step for not Zeke, but for this team, is they're not like, hell yeah, we just dropped an undefeated team. One of their best players is like, you know what sucks? This, and we need to fix it.